everyone, welcome back to Glam-me-up. Today I'm going to be doing a look for less video. These videos are going to be comparing products that are very similar, one that's high-end and then one that's a drugstore product. Or it could even be a drugstore product that's more expensive compared to something that is cheaper. I think these are really great because it allows you to find dupes for things, and you can see that they're similar and they might work just as well. They're kind of also like first impressions though, because I haven't tried these yet, so it's kind of like comparing them side by side, my first impression on them and how they really work. And if the cheaper ones work just as good as the more expensive ones. This is a new series I'm going to be doing. I'll probably be doing these maybe about once a month, or whenever I find a product that's a definite dupe for something that's more expensive. So I'm also going to be doing another series called Battle of the Brands. This is going to be comparing two different brands of makeup and something that's exactly the same to see which one works better and which one is more effective. So the products that I'm comparing today are kind of similar to something that would be in Battle of the Brands, but since it's something that's very expensive and something that's very cheap, I wanted to include it in the look for less. So the products that I'm going to be comparing is the e.l.f. Contouring Blush and Bronzing Powder against the NARS Orgasm and Laguna Duo. So this is what they both look like. This one I've used up all of the bronzer, so I do have one of the full bronzers here to compare it with. But these are the products that I'm going to be comparing. e.l.f. was definitely trying to copy this idea, but they want to make something more affordable. So they're very similar. They're not exactly the same, but they are very similar products. So I'm just going to be applying one of them to one side of my face and the other one to the other side, using both the blush and the bronze, and we're going to see how similar they are. This isn't exactly to see which one works better, but it's to see how similar they are and if you would be better off buying the cheaper one if it's going to be exactly the same. So I'm going to start off with my NARS Blush and Bronzing Duo. So this one's the full size and this one is the Laguna Bronzer that came out of here. I've just used it all up. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the NARS Laguna Bronzer to one side of my face. And I like to contour with this, so I'm going to be using a fluffy angled brush like this. This is the Sigma 168 and that is the old number. This is the one that I use every day. And I just picked up the e.l.f. one to carry in my purse for touch-up, so I wanted to compare them and see if these are exactly the same. Because if they are the same, then I'll just start buying the e.l.f. one instead, because this one is very expensive. This one can run you about $30 or $40, I think. I'm not sure on the exact price, but I will put it on my blog. And this one here is only like $3 or $5. I'm not sure which one, but I will have the price on my blog as well. So if this one works exactly the same, then it's definitely worth it than paying for the NARS one. So I apply this to the hollows of my cheek and I bring it up to my temples like this. And then I also put it up here on my forehead like that. And then I take it down the side of my jaw right here and then buff it in. And then I like to take a fluffy powder brush like this and take a little bit more and go down my neck with it. I'm just going to put this all over my neck because I don't want to have two, different sides of my neck. And then I also use this to blend out the bronzer. I usually contour my nose, but I'm not going to have two different sides of my nose done, so I'll just wait till the end to figure out which one to use on my nose. Okay, now I'm going to use the blush. This is the Orgasm blush, and it's a really pretty peachy, shimmery color. And then I'm using my Sigma F10 powder blush brush. So I take a little bit of that. It's very pigmented, so I always tap off a little bit. And then I apply this right here to the sides of my apples. I don't apply it right here because it's too close to my nose. I like for my face to look more angled, so I usually start at about right here. And you only need a little bit of this. It's very pigmented. And I blend a little bit up to my temples and then just buff it in like this. As you can see the difference. This still has nothing, and then this one's contoured with blush. Both of these bronzers are supposed to be matte, but if you look closely, this one does have a little bit of shimmer. I'm not sure if the camera's picking it up, but it's a very, very fine shimmer that you can barely even see on your face. I don't think you can even see it on your face. But this blush, this Orgasm blush, is very shimmery. It's got gold shimmer in it. Okay, so this side is the NARS side. So now I'm going to take my e.l.f. one and I'm going to apply it to this cheek. This seems to be more powdery, like I've got a lot of fallout falling out here than the other bronzer. It seems to be a little bit more orange when you apply it. Maybe I just applied too much, I don't know, but that looks really orange and muddy on this side. I probably just applied too much, so let me get a kabuki brush and I'll buff it out. This is my e.l.f. kabuki brush, and I'm just going to buff this out. I think I did just apply too much. That definitely looks much better. Okay, now I'm just going to take a little bit on the big fluffy brush. I'm going to put some of this on my neck too. I don't really see much of a difference. This one seems to be more of an orangish color. This one seems to be more brown. But if you look at them in the packaging, they look pretty much the same. Yeah, I can hardly tell a difference at all in these. In person, this one looks to be more of a red-brown color. This one looks to be more of just a lighter brown color, but I'm going to swatch them too to really show you. But the bronzers look pretty much exactly the same. The shimmer in them is pretty much the same. So these are very similar. The bronzers are very similar, even just by looking at them in the packaging. So now I'm going to put the blush on my cheek from the e.l.f. Duo. This blush looks very much lighter in the packaging, so I'm not sure how it's going to apply. I'm also going to be comparing the staying power of these. I will come back at the end of the day. I'm going to wear this for 8 or 9 hours today, and I'll come back at the end of the day and tell you which one has stayed on longer. Because I know blush tends to fade. Bronzer usually stays on pretty good, but my blush always fades by the end of the day. They look pretty much the same. I'm not really seeing any difference. This blush seems to be more of a natural skin color because it's a little bit lighter. This one seems to definitely be more rosy and pink. But if you didn't know that I used two different ones, it would look completely the same. So now I'm just going to blend them both out with a kabuki. So these are the two cheeks. I'm not really seeing much of a difference at all. The only small difference that I can tell is the difference in the blushes. But if you look at them in the packaging, you can tell that they are definitely different. But they're pretty much the same concept, and they're pretty much applying the same. The Orgasm one is definitely darker and more rosy than this one. This one's more of a natural light pink color, but they go on pretty much the same. If you weren't using these together, then you would definitely not really be able to tell a difference. This one's definitely more shimmery. It's got chunkier gold glitter in it. This one's got more of a fine shimmer gold. So now I'm going to go ahead and swatch these just to really show you guys. So as you can tell in the swatches here, the e.l.f. blush and the bronzer look to be a little bit more pigmented, but they don't blend as well. I blended these swatches exactly the same, and that's how they turned out. The NARS one seemed to definitely blend out better, so it's going to blend out better on your face, but they are very similar. I think the e.l.f. one is just going to require a little bit more blending, but other than that, it's perfect. I really like how both of these are together in the packaging. That way you can just throw them in your purse and you can have touch-ups or whatever, or you can just have one compact in your makeup stuff. That way they're both together. I ended up using all the bronzer before I used all the blush in the NARS one, so that's just why I have another of the NARS bronzer. And this goes by pretty quick. The packaging is pretty big, but it's actually not that deep. So you're not really getting as much product, I guess, but the packaging on these are pretty much exactly the same. This one's more slick, and this one definitely has that matte finish like all NARS products do. They're pretty much the exact same size. The e.l.f. one is a little bit bigger and a little bit thicker. But the NARS one says 0.35 ounce, 10 grams. And then this one says 0.28 ounce, 8 grams. So this one actually does have less product in it, even though the packaging is bigger. These are wider, the two sides, than this one is. But this one is deeper, and this one is more flat. So, but they look pretty much exactly the same. The only main difference that I'm seeing is the difference in the colors of the blushes. So I am going to take some pictures of each side of the face and then front on so you can tell. And I will label which side is which. But this one is the e.l.f. one, and then this one is the NARS one. On camera, you're not really seeing any much of a difference. The only difference that I can see from here is that the bronzer is more pigmented on the e.l.f. side. And then this one seems to be more blended. So it's just whatever your preference is. So this first picture here is with a flash, and it shows the NARS on the left and the e.l.f. on the right. They look pretty much identical here. The next picture shows without a flash, and you can see a little bit of a difference here with the e.l.f. Looks a little bit more pigmented, but I think if you want it to blend out better, you just would need to buff it more with a kabuki or use less product. Unless if you like it like that, it's all just in your preference. This next photo shows after 8 or 9 hours of wear. These both wore off exactly the same. They look identical here. They lasted a long time. They're still on there. They just wore a tiny bit, but it was exactly the same. It was no different. I tend to like the NARS one more, but I would definitely repurchase this one and keep this in my purse just for touch-ups and stuff. Or if I didn't feel like spending the $30 or $40 on the NARS one, then I would definitely get the e.l.f. one. I think it's just as good. And there's a huge price difference in these as well. This one is only $3, I believe, or it might be $5. And then this one is around $40 for the Duo. And when you buy them separate, this one I think is like 30, something like 32 or something. So all the prices will be listed on my blog. So I want to know if you guys have tried out these duos and what you think of them, which one you prefer, which one you use. This one is just an all-time favorite of mine, but I've just discovered this one and I'm really liking the e.l.f. one as well. I think the e.l.f. one is a very good dupe for the NARS one. So that just shows you that you can definitely spend less on beauty and still get the same effect. There's no point in spending a lot on makeup products when you can get the same look and still look good. So let me know if you guys like these look for less videos. I plan on doing more of them comparing higher end products to drugstore ones or more expensive products to cheaper products, because I always like finding stuff that's cheaper. That way I don't have to spend a lot of money. Also, I just did a tutorial on this nail look here, so if you guys want to see how to get this really pretty glitter gradient nails, then I will definitely link that. If you guys have any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments and also leave any requests that you have. So that is it for this look for less video, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye everybody.